Darwin Nunez is one of the most divisive footballers in the Premier League right now, nay, the world. And today we're going to be speaking about, is he good? Is he bad? Is he just not up to it for Liverpool? Or is it just a case of Liverpool having a off season? But of course, I can't speak about this alone because I don't know much about Liverpool compared to this man to my side. I don't know which side it'll be. Obviously, Cal from our podcast, the Cal and Dom Talks Nonsense podcast, it will be on that channel as well as my own. But today we're going to be speaking about Darwin Nunez and Liverpool in general. I think your first appearance on this channel was to talk about what on earth was going on at Liverpool, and we're back again. Things never change. I suppose it's only been a few months, but how have you been in our off season?
Good, mate. Yeah, it was good to recharge the batteries. Had a nice Christmas, good New Year, and ready to get back to it. I think we've been talking about it a little bit, haven't we? I was just raring to go now, ready to get going again with the podcast. So, fingers crossed that'll be very close in the future, not too far away, and we'll get sorted on that. But how have you been? You been all right?
Yeah, good. I've been obsessed by the facts and figures of YouTube, and I've been in a real cesspit of if a video doesn't get more than the last one, then I go into this dark, demeaning place, and I'm just like, oh god. But I can't think about that right now because we've got to think about Liverpool. Obviously, bit of a weird tangent there, I know, but obviously Darwin Nunez, 23 years old, signed in the summer. Similar time to another striker, Haaland, who has been,
Pretty good,
banging it in every single game. It seems like he gets 4 hat tricks in the Premier League in total. 23 years old, Darwin Nunez has played 24 games for Liverpool this season, 10 goals, 3 assists. What have you made of his time so far at Liverpool? We'll speak about him in general, just to start off with.
I think. The trouble is with Darwin, he's such a likeable footballer for our fans anyway, that it almost becomes hard to criticise him at times. And because of the way he plays and his strengths, the things that he's good at and the things that endear him to the fans, they're the things that make us back him so much. So it's hard to really get on his back at times. He has been divisive, and I can see why a lot of people might not rate him as high as the majority of Liverpool fans do. But I think for me personally, I think there's certain players that come to your football club and you know exactly why they've been bought. And as soon as you know that, and hopefully it doesn't take too long, as soon as that's clear in your head, I think you're all right with the signing. And then you just like to let them blossom then and give them a year, give them a bit of time. The likes of Luis Diaz, he hit the ground running. And obviously Darwin's first bit of action competitively for Liverpool was the Community Shield, against Man City, and came on, won a penalty, and then scored the third goal to seal it. And so we were in dreamland then. Obviously, with Haaland missing a chance in that, we thought, right, we've done you here. We've got the better man. And obviously, Haaland's gone on to do incredible things, hasn't he, in the Premier League and beyond. But I think the strengths of Darwin Nunez definitely outweigh the negatives for me personally as well. I think his work rate and his runs, his speed, his power, the fact that he'll miss a chance and he'll miss a chance and miss a chance, and it's never a case of then head down, pass it off. No, he's going to go for it again. He'll go for it till he gets it right. And his resilience is absolutely brilliant, and it's something that adheres to Liverpool fans. And Liverpool fans love somebody who tries and puts effort in and shows that it matters to them. When he scored his goal against Wolves in the first leg in the Cup, and he finally got that goal after people were saying, that a drought was starting to build.
Yeah.
And he just goes absolutely mental. But that's what we love. We love when a player thinks it's all about this. It means as much to him as it does to us. And that's why he appeals to us so much. So I think for me personally, to start, I'd say his positives definitely outweigh his negatives. And I'm definitely willing to give him this season and then see the true Darwin Nunez next season in the Liverpool team.
Yeah, you talk about the amount of chances that Darwin has in a game and how many shots he provides to the team, and obviously just before we set record to this video, we're speaking about how many shots he actually had in the Premier League so far. So he's had 56 shots in total, which is joint 5th in the Premier League, behind Kane, Mitrovic, Salah, and obviously Haaland, who's we can talk about him another day, I suppose. His XG in the Premier League right now is 9.13, so that indicates that he hasn't been as clinical as he should be in the Premier League right now. He's got an assist XG, just to add to that, of a 3.74, and he's assisted 3 times, so it's about right for that sort of statistic. But obviously as well, he is top of the woodwork chart as well, hitting the woodwork 5 times, which, it's fine margins at that point. I think that how raw Darwin Nunez is right now is probably his biggest weakness, because look at the Palace game when he got sent off. That's probably the perfect summarization of how easily he can be manipulated, per se. And I think that people are getting on his back maybe because of the amount of goals that Haaland scored, but 10 goals in 24 games is still something to shout out about. I don't think there's anything wrong with 10 goals in 24 games. I think it's just because 22 goals in how many games Haaland had. It's an easy to compare the two. Another one I'd say about Darwin Nunez is his control ability. Sometimes it just pings off him, doesn't it? And he has those games where nothing sticks to his feet. But I'd try to compare him with someone who's sort of similar to Darwin Nunez in that sort of field. So obviously, I thought Ivan Toney, a player that holds it up well, sticks to his feet, does well. Darwin Nunez every games has 1.7 a bad ball control per game. I'm not sure how they find that stat, but it's a stat in itself. Whereas Ivan Toney has 3.2, so it's quite a surprising little stat that, in terms of you'd expect it to be the other way around, or the stat to be flipped. So, but obviously that's enough about his bad qualities in this video. We're going to talk about the good. About Darwin Nunez, and obviously we can talk about how maybe Liverpool aren't performing as well as they should be, potentially the rest of these players essentially not performing onto the standard that Darwin probably thought when he came into this team. Do you think that it's a case of a transition for Liverpool this season, or do you think do you think there's an area of which, if you add to that position, then Darwin Nunez will be flying?
Do you know what? I've heard so many people mention the idea that it's a transitional season. I think a lot of Liverpool fans will agree that I think with a transition, something needs to be transitioning. Where the reality of the situation at the moment is, and we can talk about the board all day and things with that. I know the club's up for sale, but there doesn't seem to be much transition going on. It seems to be actually the complete polar opposite of a transition, and that it's pretty stuck in the mud. So obviously you bring Darwin Nunez in the summer to not replace Mane, but we needed an attacker to fill that hole, and fill a front three. He comes in, he starts off really well, and then he has struggled as we've struggled. But our problems, as at Liverpool, the foundations of the midfield, it's that is the big problem, and lots of players are going to suffer from that. You look at assists for the wing backs, the centre backs that everybody raved about so many times in the past, and that now they're being doubted and said that they might be past it, and the midfield isn't doing what it used to do, and it doesn't run like clockwork anymore, and everything's pretty much out of sync, and that's why it is hard for these attacking players now to make an impact. And I think that's why he does appeal so much to our fans, because I think one of the few positives of this season has been seeing what we could potentially have on our hands with Darwin Nunez. When fingers crossed, everything goes okay in the summer, we get a nice new bunch of midfielders in, and
Hopefully so.
Hopefully, and then we can get it sorted and get a formation and a style of play that keeps people guessing again, because I think we have become quite a predictable team, and our position in the league, stands for that as well. So I think this season it's tough, but I think it has been a positive to see how good he's been doing in certain things and how dangerous he could potentially be. Because I think if you're talking about the word potential, that is Darwin Nunez for me right now. You see it and you see things. Still young as well. 23. It's no age really. I know there's players that set standards at even a younger age, but they're players from a different stratosphere that you don't really need to be comparing with, and people can hit that peak at any point in their career as well. So I think everything I've seen, there's a lot of raw talent, there's a lot of excitement about him, and there's been times where we've missed him when he's not been there, when he's had this injury recently, and we've really missed his presence on the pitch. And it's good to have him back now, and hopefully he can go on a little run now, score a few goals, and and get his numbers up for this season. So, but it is a respectable one, as you say, already 10 goals, 3 assists so far, and I'm sure he'll have quite a few to that before the end of the season.
Yeah, and I think the word transition always means it's just a nicer, cozy way of saying poor, isn't it? I think a team in transition always has a downturn. It's like, oh, they're in transition. It's like calling a small room cozy, and I think that it's just a nice way of spinning it. To be honest with you, I think that in terms of the rest of the team as well, I just a little stat: the through balls into the forwards. Obviously, you got the top De Bruyne with 20. You've got Gundogan, who's not really played that much for City. He's sort of in and out of the team. He's on 9 through ball assists. Sorry, 9 through balls, and Trent is also on 9 and playing most of the game. So that sort of shows how the level sort of has slightly dropped for Liverpool this season. And I'll ask one last question. Obviously, the good qualities of Darwin Nunez, we always know they're there, but I'll also link it in with how does he make you feel, because I think the factor of that links so nicely to how his good qualities come out, don't they? And I think that obviously I'm not a Liverpool fan. I won't have that same feeling for Darwin than yourself, with the sort of emotional, raw feelings about him. How does he make you feel? And is it all good?
It is. I can't really explain it, but I think Liverpool fans will understand what I'm talking about. I remember when he signed, and obviously watching him in the Champions League against us last season, we thought, wow, what a player. And then when we signed him, you think, wow, the amount of time that the transfer took over those few days when it was pretty much confirmed, and then we was waiting and waiting and waiting. And then when it came, it had this euphoria to it. You'll remember when we were talking in our group chat, and I'm sure there were thousands more people exactly the same. And when it came, he was like, wow, here we go, a new centre forward for Liverpool. And you see him, and he's this big handsome guy with this ponytail and all these tattoos, and he comes in, and then he's just as crazy as you imagine, and it's just a roller coaster. I think it's an experience that I think any football fan should have in their lifetime, is having a player like Darwin Nunez in their team, just even if it's just for a couple of years. He has that Suarez edge where you just don't know what he's going to do. Some of it bad, obviously, like a headbutt. He got a headbutt after 3 games or something. Like Captain Chaos from Jamie Carragher is a fantastic term. I was just remembering a review of him after the West Ham game when he scored his goal, and I can't remember what the account was called, but it just said an effing maniac of chaos. Like that makes sense. Perfect. That's perfect. So he makes us laugh. He makes us excited. We love when he scores because we know how much stick he gets in the media, and then you can see how much it means to him and what a relief it is when he does get a goal. And there's been 10 of them, so we think he's absolutely fantastic. We think it's a work in progress at the minute, but it's something that we're really excited about. And hopefully with the rumoured additions this summer, I can see him having a seriously big season for Liverpool next year if they get the recruitment right in the summer.
Yeah, I think even as a first season, 10 goals in 24 is, like we said, it's respectable at worst. It's just because of other figures around you that make it look slightly worse than what it is. And with a 6-year contract as well, it's only going to get better, isn't it? And hopefully he can become the player that everyone thinks he can become if he can just contain it in a bottle and not have it so outlandishly chaotic. But is Darwin Nunez is Darwin Nunez good? Is he bad? Let me know in the comments below. Cal, thank you so much for being on this channel. Obviously, it's our channel as well, isn't it? On the Calendar.
Yeah.
And be sure to check us out on the podcast channel in the next few weeks, because we'll be beginning with season 2 of Calendar Talks Nonsense, hopefully with a few more guests as well. So if you haven't already, can you go subscribe to the channel? Comment below, is Darwin Nunez good or is he bad? Or Is he anything else that you want to say? Hopefully nothing, no swear words or cursing. You can if you want it. I just screw it. But we will see you very soon, like we say. And peace, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.